Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome one and all to episode 7 of The Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion where tonight we will be joined by You're Wrong, who has been by the channel several times. I've actually met him over on Fat Stevens' Rumble channel, and we've become fast friends. And tonight he has chosen the episode That Which Survives from season 3 of the original series. This particular episode involves the Enterprise being whooshed across the galaxy while Kirk, Sulu, and McCoy and a geologist, come on, Mike, speak, are stranded on this planet. And of course, this planet has this mysterious woman on it, and it's played by Lee Merriweather. And well, I'm not going to spoil all the episode for you because I want you to be able to watch it. And the Cosme link is pinned to the top of the chat on both the YouTube channel and also over on the Rumble channel. I am placing the Cosme link into the live stream feed over on X right now as we speak. But of course, before we even get underway, I do want to say hello to everybody who has come on board the Starship Pacific Forum for this evening's episode. And the first person I want to say hello to is Admiral Lady Mist. How are you doing this evening, Lady Mist? Happy Saturday to you. And of course, we also have Lieutenant the Padawannabe. Greetings, Lieutenant. Now, before we get underway with this episode, I do want to beam aboard tonight's special guest. And tonight's special guest is the best Starfleet medical officer, Starfleet chief medical officer, chief doctor on board any starship. The only thing is, McCoy gets all the spotlight. As a matter of fact, he's the best chief medical officer when it comes to playing Marvel Rivals. So please, at this time, welcome in tonight's guest. You're wrong. Welcome aboard, Commander. How are you doing this evening?
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Not a problem, brother.
Permission to board the ship, Captain.
Permission granted.
What's
So,
up?
oh, not much, brother. But I want you to tell everybody who's here right now why you chose this specific episode.
Well, I wanted to choose an episode that isn't that well known, but deserves a little bit more light than it gets because this was an A class episode that really got panned when it first aired.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's reasons for people not liking the third season. A lot of them say it was getting lazy. There was issues with production costs and a lot of other reasons that the third season wasn't as good as the previous. But I specifically picked this episode because I think it really captures what originally made the show great. Because this episode was actually created and written by what's hang on, let me look. DC Fontana,
Mm-hmm.
who did some amazing episodes for Star Trek over the years. She did X Child. Um, I had it open. I don't know why I closed. DC Fontana episodes. Yeah, she did Side of Paradise. Tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
is Yesterday. Heart of Glory, one of the early Star Trek episodes. Um, Encounter at Farpoint. I mean, she was so influential into the show that when the third season started lagging, they brought her back in to do this episode, and it really caters to what made the show originally great, opposed to what made the third season meh.
Mm-hmm. And that's true. I mean, the writing was suffering. Where some writers wanted to go in one direction for season three, as you and I were talking about backstage, and others wanted to make it more episodic.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people wanted to drag the show out into multiple episodes, leading kind of like a Doctor Who situation.
Hmm.
But the core idea of the show was always intended to be like a show. Episodic TV just wasn't something Gene Roddenberry wrote early on.
No, and he always flip flopped on his ideas for the show, especially as it got into season two. Of course, he left during season three, which left Gene L. Kuhn in charge, which was another reason why the show did suffer. And of course, when the show was also the bane of NBC's existence, the network's always looking for an excuse to finally cancel the show, and they did after this season. But we're not going to dwell on that too much. And Padawannabe, pay attention to Lieutenant Uhura in this episode. You will see how many stripes it is for Lieutenant. But if you haven't clicked onto the Cosme link that's pinned to the top of the YouTube or Rumble channel, please do so now because we are starting the episode. And if you're over on X, it is located in the chat over there. And also, it's posted underneath the original post for tonight's episode. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, that which survives. And please let me know how the picture quality is, just in case I have to make any adjustments, ladies and gentlemen. And in good fashion, Kirk assembles his away team, but we also get the conversation between Kirk and Spock about how unusual this planet is.
They actually hadn't done an episode on a planet in a while, so it was refreshing for them to actually beam down somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And our first
Oh.
appearance of Lee Merriweather, also known as Catwoman. Well, one of the Catwomen. And Lady Miss says hello to you. You're on.
Hello, Lady Mist.
A single stripe is Lieutenant, at least as far as the original series was concerned.
Oh,
When it
here's a
came,
first for you. The first time a woman drove the Star Trek Enterprise was on this episode.
yeah,
Lieutenant Rada. She was only in a couple episodes.
And of course, D'Amato's played by Arthur Benatendes. And I can tell you here just a bit what shows he was in.
Oh, a child in me giggles every time I hear it start.
I mean, when I was born, the show was already in syndication, but I started watching Star Trek at 7 years old.
Yep, my dad. It's one of the shows me and my dad would watch.
Well, Mr. Benatendes was in Police Academy 3, Police Academy 4, Police Academy 2, Police Academy 6. He was in an episode of Knight Rider. He was in 5 episodes of Happy Days. He was also in Galactica 1980. He was in 2 episodes of Wonder Woman.
Which Wonder Woman?
Linda Carter's Wonder Woman TV
Linda.
series as Krug.
The proper one.
Yeah, yeah. He was in Columbo as well, The Odd Couple, The New Dick Van Dyke Show, Ironside, McCloud, Streets of San Francisco, Mission Impossible, Hawaii Five-O, and several others. Of course, a reason why Sula's also on this away team is because if you think back to where No Man Has Gone before, he was actually part of the science team.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in a couple episodes as the Doctor.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the other episode, Mbega would appear in as a private little war.
That's a good episode.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you're going to notice something here which is different from the warp scale that's used from Next Generation on. But we'll talk about it until we get there. And now the crew's trying to find supplies so they can survive. Water, vegetation. So, you're wrong. Do you remember how old you were when you first saw this episode?
Oh man, maybe 9 or 10. I had to have been. Oh fuck it! It was in the early '80s, early to mid '80s. It was a lot less fancy than this. I
Hmm.
remember watching it on a big fat CRT that would crush you if it fell down.
Oh, yeah.
And they hadn't fully colorized them yet.
No, and even the episodes that were in color, it wasn't as sharp as what we're looking at right now.
Oh no, this looked like you couldn't see that that was lavender with little glitter on it, you know? But now you can clearly tell that's lavender with glitter on it. The
Hmm.
purpley flowers.
Yep.
A lot of this set is reused from other sets, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, that's just how they did it because they didn't have a large budget and they had budget restraints. They had to reuse a lot of things. Even Next Generation, yeah, it had a higher budget, but it still had to use things that have been used before, whether it be background sets from the motion picture or throwing in the same model but just changing it up a little bit for exterior shots. Now, Shane, what would you do in the situation that the model's in?
Oh, ooh, Lee Merriweather, I'd probably be dead. I'm not even gonna lie, I'd be a red shirt. I've had a crush on her since I was like 4.
She's my favorite Catwoman.
Oh yeah, she's the OG. I mean, she was a Lily Monster, Barnaby's mother. Uh,
Well, there's a reason why the model didn't answer.
It's funny. This is actually the second write of this episode. The original script for the episode is a lot more violent. They wanted Lee Merriweather's character to get them to start killing each other.
But of course, with the TV censors back then, the censors wouldn't have allowed it. I mean, heck, if they were showing bare midriff, they had to cover the belly buttons back then.
Yeah, that's another issue. They wanted to. They made her cover up a lot more too.
Tried shooting it again, and same effect.
And just like that, Sulu becomes a geologist.
Mm-hmm. And Spock, being the ever Vulcan, corrects the lieutenant. The feel is wrong. Only an engineer would know how his ship should feel.
Yeah, this is one of the few episodes where it spotlights what it would be like if Spock ran the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has full control.
Yeah, and I think it's good to showcase what Spock would do if he was in command.
Yeah. How he would go about dealing with a situation like this. Meh.
McCoy's being McCoy, matter of fact. Scotty knows something's wrong with his ship.
He knows when his baby's being mistreated. Something ain't right. One of my favorite episodes of The Next Generation is when Scotty comes back as that guest appearance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It
on
drives the whole
relics.
ship crazy.
Yeah, we actually talked about that episode with the Smoking Patriot back in June.
It's a good one.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorites. And notice how quickly these episodes go by.
Oh, I know. You're just so invested in them.
Mm-hmm. And Lee Merriweather is still with us.
Oh, yeah. She even does some video game voices.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
He's not the first man to die streaming about some strange woman.
Nope.
This was a new tricorder.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say it's always interesting when you're watching an episode from any of the series to find what settings that a tricorder has and how
Oh, yeah.
often it's used or even not used.
I think he would have made a good doctor.
Yeah, yeah, make him more of a regular. I mean, who knows if there had been a season 4 of the original series, we might have seen more of it in Vega.
Yeah.
As it's even said that for season 4, James Doohan would have been added to the opening credits.
That'd have been cool. I think they just burned it out too fast. Too much merch, too much saturation.
Well, not only that, it doesn't help that NBC had very little faith in the show and they didn't want to support it.
Despite gallons of fan mail pouring in hourly.
I mean, we're lucky we even got the animated series.
I know. It just goes to show you these executives or whoever decides these things have been screwing shows over for generations.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag bring back Firefly.
Oh yeah, that was a great show. She's not gonna move.
My ex-wife said that. Don't do it, Sulu.
That's the last thing you want to hear from her is I want to touch you. Your phaser has no effect, Sulu.
As soon as Sulu said that, Kirk was like, "Okay, so I can't sleep with this one." Dirty space boy.
And there she goes again. I mean, again, you've got to give them credit for the budget they had and the resources that they had to create the special effects that they were able to create back then in the 60s.
Oh, they built technology for this show.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Even filming the Enterprise model, they did techniques. And Spock being ever so logical, ever so vigilant in his own way, calculating, ascertaining their situation.
it's interesting seeing the crew get annoyed with the shift in atmosphere of the ship.
Hmm.
Like they can tell things are going to be much more straightforward to the fact. You know, very cold.
Logic.
Like you can tell Uhura was just annoyed with it just a little bit.
Hmm. And you're even losing those 14.87 minutes the more you talk. The longer she's able to touch the crew members, the more likely they're going to be dead.
Why wouldn't he know that? He's the doctor.
He should know it, but I wonder if he's just in a state of shock because of what happened to Diamato and what could have happened to Sulu.
Maybe, but it just seems like Kirk just read McCoy's part, and McCoy read Kirk's part.
Yeah. Hmm. And you want to know my theory as to why Scotty volunteers to do it? To
Well,
shut down the antimatter flow? It's because he'd rather Spock be in command of the Enterprise, and because Scotty's the chief engineer, he feels it's his responsibility to shut it down.
hmm, he is being pretty sharp with everybody, isn't he?
Hmm. That won't be the last time we see a phaser on overload. Maybe for this episode, but not for the series in general. And I'm talking about all the series.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's something that they overuse.
Hmm.
And considering it has the power of like a giant bomb, they really abuse it.
Yep. And of course, the service crawlways, which would later be renamed to Jeffries tubes for Next Generation and beyond, after Matt Jeffries.
A1 on acid, I'm sorry. Those blue lights are crazy.
Yeah, they are. Surprisingly, in the HD version of this episode, they didn't even touch that effect. They left it alone. All right, so you just heard the lieutenant say that they're warp 11.2 and accelerating. That's because the warp scale was different in the original series compared to the time of the next generation, where warp 9.9 was the maximum warp.
Huh. I didn't catch that before. Yeah, warp 11 in modern terms would rip the shielding off the ship.
Hmm. And yeah, like you said earlier, Spock is cold. I mean, what he just said to Scotty, I'm aware of the facts. Please get on with the job.
Yeah, he's being very sharp. And I think the crew's reacting to it very subtly and well.
Hmm.
The acting on this show was so incredible.
It was.
That's just a dude sitting on the floor looking at PVC pipes. But you feel like it's the end of the world.
And it's good to see you, Tim. Welcome to tonight's episode, That Which Survives. I hope you're doing well, brother.
Welcome, Tim.
And Tim says he's tired, but he's good. Excellent, brother. I love that laugh from Scotty. Gary, good to see you, brother. Kirk's next. And now we find out her name. And Gary says hello to you, brother.
Hey, Gary. See, this is why you always need friends. Well, she's not gonna register. You've already said that she doesn't register as anything.
Hmm. I don't know why they're trying to use their tricorders again to detect something that isn't there.
Yeah.
I'll think about it. I'll think about it too.
Captain Obvious.
Yeah, yep.
It gets the point across, though. He's like, I'm hungry and I'm thirsty, so we're going in the hole, guys.
You can either come in with me or you can stay out here. Your choice. I mean, like Shane and I were talking about it earlier. They had to reuse a lot of their sets. They had a limited budget, so they made the most of it. But you're right, Tim. They are better than anything that current Trek does.
They were handmade.
Hmm.
That would become another trope.
Yep.
Reverse the polarity of the magnetic field.
Hmm.
They dramatically drop the Spock who's not going to have a reaction.
Hmm. Oh, that's the longest second in the history of Star Trek.
Now it's going to take them like 10,000 years to get home. Oh, wait, never mind.
I mean, I'm surprised at this point with the engine slowing down that it still didn't cause some problems for the warp reactor.
And what happens when they reverse it, like put it back?
Mm-hmm. All the strain that the engine already went through. You're not kidding, Padawannabe. Well, the Enterprise can.
I guess they could just go in reverse all the way home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lee Merriweather was an absolutely beautiful woman in her younger days. She's still a beautiful woman now.
Yeah, she's got that timeless pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Red flag.
That's true. And Gary says, Catwoman. Yes, sir. Again, Lee Merriweather, absolutely beautiful woman. In the nick of time. And Padawannabe says triplets. Yes, there were three Lee Merriweathers in that scene. Yeah, she did. Would you have liked to see Merriweather make a return to Star Trek in a different series, in a different role, or
I mean, it wouldn't be that weird because so many of the classic actors have come back in odd
Mhm.
roles. But yeah, Lee Merriweather has done guest appearances on so much stuff.
Mhm.
She was also in Love Boat, I think,
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
original Love Boat.
I can go ahead and bring up her credits. Just give me a second. Hey, Arwen, how are you
Hey,
doing?
Arwen.
All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We just finished watching the original series episode, That Which Survives. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up Lee Merriweather's IMDb credits so we can see what else she's been in. Of course, there she is in that picture. Lovely looking woman.
Oh
But of
yeah,
course,
still gorgeous.
mm-hmm. She was in Barnaby Jones. She was, of course, in Batman the movie, Ultimate Gift, and also the series Batman, The Monsters Today. Yeah, she was always a very classy looking woman. Let's see. Her most recent credit is in 2019 on a show called Love and Debt. I can't say I've ever heard of it. Kaplan's Corner. She was in one episode in 2018. In 2018, she also did TV series called Rise of the Catwoman. She was playing the Nana. Let's see. Hell's Kitty, still winning the wings. All right, let's go. Let's go back. Let's go all the way back. So I am going to the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, look at that one episode, two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
She's the guest star queen. She never really got after the monsters. She never really got her shot at becoming big.
Yeah,
You know?
and she should have. She really
Oh
should
yeah.
have. I mean, she obviously had the acting chops.
Oh yeah, and she was connected to everyone. She
Mm-hmm.
had the connections. She just I don't know. She never did another show at really like full time after the monsters.
Because I mean, we look here at the Philco Television Playhouse, and that ran from 1954 to 1955. She was in 3 episodes of that. Matinee Theater, she was in 2 episodes of that. Alcoa Hour, 1 episode. Men of Annapolis, 1 episode. That was in 57. The Millionaire in 58, 1 episode. The Phil Silvers Show, 1 episode. Dragnet, 1 episode. Omnibus, 40 Men, Clear Horizon, all 1 episode. Bring It Up, Buddy. She was in Leave It to Beaver. She was a young woman neighbor in that. So let's see if it says what the episode is. Season 4, episode 33, Community Chest. Well, that's going to make me want to look for that episode and look specifically for her in that episode. All right. The Detectives, she was in 1 episode of that in 61. Shannon, she was in 1 episode. The Lloyd Bridges Show, 1 episode. I'm Dickens, he's Finster, 1 episode. Alcoa premiere, The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Let's see, Route 66, The Unmarried, Bob Hope Presents, 1 episode. Jack Benny Program. Let's see. My Three Sons, 1 episode. The Fugitive, 1 episode. F Troop, 1 episode. Perry Mason, 2 episodes.
She was
Let's,
on fire. I just don't understand why her career never went bigger.
yeah, doesn't make sense. I mean, look at all these credits.
Spanning a generation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She should have been a major TV star.
Yeah. Barnaby Jones. That was one of her major shows that never
Mm-hmm.
really she gets recognized for. She played the mom, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Betty Jones. She was in an episode of Fantasy Island. And like you had mentioned earlier, Shane, she was in The Love Boat,
Oh
Hotel,
yeah.
Glitter. She was in an episode of Mr. Belvedere. Let's see. You Are the Jury, Jonathan Winters, On the Ledge, Jake and the Fat Man, an episode. She was, of course,
What
in
is Jake and
today.
the Fat Man?
Yeah. Used to watch that with my grandma.
I've never heard of it.
It was one of those crime dramas in the 80s. But yeah, The Monsters Today, where she played Lily Monster. Uh, Dark Justice, Murder She Wrote. She was in 3 episodes of that. Touched by an Angel, Return to the Batcave, The Misadventures of Adam and Bert. That was in 2003. It was a TV movie. She was a waitress in the diner. Oh, she provided a voice in Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. She played Big Mama.
Big Mama.
Wizards of Waverly Place. She was in an episode of that. Um, Vanquish, All My Children. She was in 76 episodes of All My Children from 1996 to 2011.
That's a show I haven't thought of in so long.
No,
You know, have
I,
wholesome TV shows.
I can't say I ever really got into soap operas.
Oh,
My mom loved them.
yeah, my mom and my grandma both watched them, so I know of some of them.
Yeah. Let's see. Desperate Housewives, I mentioned. Hell's Kitty. The newer version of Hawaii Five-O, one episode. I mean, again, she really should have been a series regular on some show.
Yeah, she just, I don't know.
She just really didn't get that break.
She's like the co-star queen.
Mm-hmm.
But I followed her in most of this stuff, honestly.
Well, I mean, she's got that recognizable look, face. You know, whenever you see her on screen, you know who it is.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and of course, her as Catwoman and Burgess Meredith. But having watched this episode tonight, Shane, did you notice anything in this episode that you may not have caught before?
Oh, what was it you caught? Um, I can't remember what you mentioned during the episode. I went blank as soon as you asked.
The warp scale, how it was different in the original series compared
Yeah,
to
I never
how.
caught that they mentioned Warp 11 because I figured by the third season they had figured out a warp system. See, it's interesting how Gene Roddenberry decided to change the warp system so dramatically throughout the different series.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he could never really figure out how to make it make sense, and he had so many geeks and nerds like us trying to figure it out for him. We're asking him questions. He's like, I'm just making this shit up. Excuse my language. Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna
But
get mad at you.
yeah, Gene Roddenberry talked on a podcast once about how he was just making a lot of this stuff up, but he would get these scientific theories like 100 pages long trying to explain these systems.
I mean, the thing is, for the original series, they had science fiction writers working on the show. I mean, one of the more famous ones is Harlan Ellison, and Harlan Ellison and Gene Roddenberry, from different accounts, didn't really like each other.
I agree with that. The writer rooms were very brutal back then, though. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
really had to do what you had to do to get your show on TV.
Yeah,
So
I
I
mean,
said the person who wrote this um, specific episode, DC Fontana, she wrote so much of the core lore of Star Trek. Like she's,
especially when it came to the Vulcans.
oh yeah, the Vulcans and the Klingons.
Mhm.
Um, I think what was it? That Which Survives? No, that's the one we just watched.
And I know DJ is trying to be funny here. He says Star Trek Discovery had better writers. DJ, DJ,
Star
DJ,
Trek
DJ.
what?
Star Trek Discovery.
Discovered who?
You know,
Yeah.
just as a joke, DJ, I really should have the clip from Trouble with Tribbles saying, the Enterprise should be hauled away as garbage for any comments to
Oh,
say Star Trek Discovery is a better show.
that's fighting words. This
Laddie.
A little side note of trivia about this specific episode. This is the last episode that will take place in an unknown star date.
That's true. You're not given a star date during
Now,
this entire episode.
after this, every episode of Star Trek will have a clear star date.
Mm-hmm. And it even has continued in the spin-off series. Next Gen, DS9, Voyager. Of
Oh
course,
yeah,
in Enterprise, they changed it to Captain Starlog. They actually used, the months, the days, and the year instead of star dates.
did they?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, when we get to a Enterprise episode, you'll see how they do it compared to how they did it in the other series instead of referring to it as star dates.
Enterprise gets a bad rap, but I thought it was nostalgia bait. The whole thing was nostalgia bait. You learned how the red alert came to be, how the
Mm-hmm.
phasers were designed. Yeah,
Did we? No, let me ask you. In your opinion, did we really need to know that, or did we just need to know that Starfleet vessels go to red alert when there's a battle situation or a dangerous situation in general, and that the ships are armed with phasers?
that's why I said Enterprise was absolutely just nostalgia bait. It had the little facts that we all wanted to, like, how did they pick that specific annoying noise? Well, we learned it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole show was about giving the nerds the stuff that they wanted to know all the years and coming
Yeah,
up with good, interesting stories to fill it in with.
yeah, and DJ is bringing up how they came up with red alert, but of course it was Lieutenant Reed who came up with the idea of going to a battle state. When I saw that episode of Enterprise, I know we're kind of going away from That Which Survives, but I'm just going to address it here. When I saw that episode of Enterprise, I'm thinking, okay, if we're going by naval standards here, ships have had a former red alert throughout modern history when they yell battle stations and you hear the klaxons going off.
Well, it also was an important historic moment for the Enterprise because it made the ship from a ship purely for exploration purposes to a ship that might actually be in combat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it showed the dark tone that the ship had taken. Like, space is dangerous. We need weapons.
We need weapons. We need to be able to defend ourselves. Plus, you have the Romulans sneaking around.
The the wide-eyed, bushy-tail naivety of humanity, you know, realize that space is dangerous. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just let's go out and make peace and love.
Yeah, and I mean, even in Broken Bow, the Vulcans are saying that humans aren't ready.
Yeah, and I think adding the red alert and the phaser banks and all that really showed the point where the Federation took a stark turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like they
Well,
became police, and
they became police, but you also go into the Expanse area where you're dealing with the Zindi who want to destroy anybody who comes into their area, especially anybody from Starfleet, from Earth. So you're mostly on our turf. You're new here to the galaxy. You might need to slow down just a little bit.
Yeah, hold your horses. Which, of course, is the whole purpose of the 3-year mission.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's stuff out there that we can't even begin to comprehend. We're going to send our best ship out there for 3 years to figure it out.
Yep. And then Kirk and company going on 2 5-year missions, and things change at Starfleet in those 5 years, especially after the second 5-year mission where Kirk comes back. The Enterprise is put into dry dock so it can go through its refit, and Kirk is promoted to admiral. But when it comes to That Which Survives, it depicts a planet that has been long since dead. You might as well say that because all its inhabitants are dead because of a
Yeah.
disease.
Which they um, never really went into the disease much. Like, you'd think they would be like, oh, oh crap, are we in danger of this disease? Do you think it could have survived thousands of years?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Shane, because McCoy never brings it up. I've done some medical scans on you, Jim, and you're infected with the same disease that killed the people that once lived on this planet.
Yeah, I thought that was very strange because, like, they had McCoy, the head doctor, but all the medical lingo was done by Kirk, and I didn't grasp why.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, maybe it was because William Shatner took some of DeForest Kelly's lines.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And Shatner was kind of a jerk on some of the sets, like,
Yeah.
but so was Nimoy on some of the sets too.
I mean, especially when you hear that Nimoy and Shatner weren't getting along and they weren't always the best of friends.
Oh yeah, and this episode really starkly showed the way they'd approach Captain.
Mm-hmm. Spock is cold yet logical. Kirk will use his emotions and do
God, it would suck
anything
to
it
work
takes
for a Vulcan.
to save his ship. Yeah, I mean, sir, it's a joke. I am not laughing.
You have 3.5 seconds left for work.
Well, Lieutenant, you're on. Where are you going? It's the end of my shift. Not for another 25 seconds.
You may go. He'd be that jerk. Oh,
Yeah. Yet, I've had bosses like that. Oh,
oh, so have I. It usually warehouse bosses are like that.
mm-hmm. It's like you're not gonna let me clock out just a little early. Come on. It's not like I'm going home an hour early.
Nope,
It's
push a
it's
broom.
two it's 2 minutes. But what would you rate this episode? That which survives.
Oh, it's pretty high up there for me. Like I said, I picked it because it's one of the lesser known episodes that I think deserves to get good recognition. I mean, on the scale of things, it's probably a 7 or an 8 to be
Mm-hmm.
fair. But
I mean, and I give it a solid 7. Why?
yeah,
Because it puts the crew in a predicament where one, the Enterprise could lose all hands due to the matter antimatter explosion that could occur. And two, you got the away team that was beamed down to the planet and they might die of starvation. So the stakes are high. And And also, you have this woman come on board who's a computer projection who is going by her programming and destroying anybody who interferes with the planet because of what happened to the inhabitants of this planet. So, do you have anything else that you'd like to say about tonight's episode?
Um, I went blank again. But yeah, like I was saying, they originally wanted the original script for this was a lot more brutal. They wanted the woman to be a lot more savage, and they wanted to get the crew stuck on the planet really going after each other and themselves. But it was so brutal that the executives were like, "No, we're rewriting this to where there's only one or two people that actually died." But in the
Mm-hmm.
original script, almost every like there was a bunch of extras that they were going to throw in just to die. Like people were going to be dropping left and right.
But again, one of the reasons you could say that they didn't go with that idea is because network television at that time.
Yeah, which is part of the reason they wanted to do it that way because shows didn't show people dying in a mass scale like that really. Not in the way they wanted to show it
Mm-hmm.
because the show was losing viewers at this point. Oversaturation in the market and all their problems.
Well, not only that, one of the problems that the original series did face during its original run was NBC would shift it from one day and one time slot to another. So NBC wasn't helping the show. NBC despised the show. The only reason the show even got a third season was because fans wrote in.
It makes no sense. I really don't understand how they flopped so hard on this. And they obviously knew they messed up because they dragged it back out of the cellar.
Mm-hmm. With the animated series.
Yeah.
And even that only got 22 episodes. And then, after the animated series, you had to wait till 1979 before the motion picture came out. But even the motion picture was a hot mess when it came to production.
Yeah. I remember going to see the original motion picture. It was a mess, honestly. I didn't like it at first. I liked the movie after when I went back and watched it when I was older,
Mm-hmm.
but watching it as a kid, I didn't like the movies because they were a little bit over my head. You know what I mean? They were a little
Yeah.
bit more
Yeah.
sophisticated than your average Star Trek channel. And they took a lot more investment than a kid interested in Star Trek back then was willing to put into it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because Anonymous and I, for an episode of The Adventure Continues, we watched the episode Paradise from season 2 of Deep Space Nine. And that was an episode I hated the first time I watched it when I was 14 years old. But as I got older, I began to understand wholeheartedly what the episode was about.
Yeah, a lot of TNG and beyond was great and stunning for kids, but you didn't really understand the storylines and the deepness of the issues.
No.
At least I didn't. You could have been smarter than me. I was pretty dumb as a kid.
There were many times I wasn't the brightest bulb of the bunch or the sharpest knife in the drawer.
But yeah, the original Star Trek was so, I don't know, like thrilling. Like they were
Mm-hmm.
very action packed for television at the time. Spaceships going pew pew through space, and even the little model flying across the screen. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing we have to always remember. These shows were meant to be fun, but they were also meant to be thought provoking. And that's what Star Trek has always been before the current times, thought provoking.
Oh yeah. When you as a kid did understand some of the messaging of the shows,
Mm-hmm.
then it was like, wow. It really made you understand other parts of life that you hadn't understood before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember the morality of the Federation of, do no harm to life and whatnot. You had the kids programming that was all cheesy and corny with the messaging. Star Trek put it in a way that made it fun and exciting.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like Star Trek having the prime directive, not
Yeah.
interference with other cultures. We don't interfere with that culture. We don't interrupt that culture's growth, especially a pre-warp civilization, because we don't want to contaminate that growth. And they've had episodes where they talked about the Federation's technology contamin- contaminating society. Leaving a communicator behind could alter things. Heck, an episode that I wanted to talk about on the show, coming up at some point, will be a piece of the action. How one single book changed a society.
It happens too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you wouldn't like I don't know, that's kind of a controversial uh situation right now, whether, cross cultural contamination and all that. But when you're a kid, you can't grasp how deep of a situation that is, but you can get but for thinking about it for the first time, thinking about cultures for the first time and how they can contaminate each other, like that blows a kid's mind. You've never thought about something like
Mm-hmm.
that before.
Yeah, well, I mean, yesterday I was watching YouTube and this video came across my feed. And I'm going to see if I can find the link to the channel as I talk about this. But it was this young woman who defected from North Korea, went to South Korea, and it was her documenting her first time experience here in the United States and walking into a grocery store, and something that we take advantage of each and every day. But the sensory overload of seeing so many different products on the shelves, so many different vegetables. I mean, she was looking for water and she went down the aisle and she saw so many different brands of water.
Do you need more alkaline in your water? Do you need more distilled?
Hmm. So
She probably didn't know there were so many different kinds of water.
yeah, I mean, it's a completely eye-opening experience. I mean, you know, Arwen, she's talked about her experience in Saudi Arabia, having been over there, and how the culture is over there, and what you must do and what you can't do.
Oh, I have an uncle that's worked in Saudi Arabia for a long time. He's an engineer for the oil lines, and he loves it. He says it's great over there. He doesn't get involved with the politics or the religious stuff, though. He respects the culture and he
Mhm.
likes being among it. They're respectful people
As long as
if you
you're respectful, they'll be respectful. That that's all anyone can ask.
as long as you stay away from the more radical cults and stay true to the laws.
Mhm. So I put the link to the channel I was just talking about into the chat. I'm getting ready to put it into the chat over on X, but check out our channel and you get a new perspective on life. Because what's commonplace for a lot of us isn't commonplace for other folks around the world. And learning about other cultures, that is something Star Trek teaches us.
Hmm.
To learn about other cultures and to be accepting of other cultures and their differences.
Oh, here's a fun fact related to the show. Sorry, I don't mean to sidetrack.
It's all right. It's all right.
Um, the writer of the episode also wrote Vulcan's Glory, which is a book of um Spock's first mission for Starfleet.
Let me see if
And
it's available on Amazon, just out of curiosity. Let's see. Oh,
yep.
Star Trek Vulcan's Glory. That's it. And they do have it. They have the paperback, and they also have the Kindle version. If anybody has a Kindle, so I'm copying the link address. And again, this is by DC Fontana.
I'm a fan if you haven't noticed.
And no worries,
She
man.
really has done some of the greatest episodes.
She has, and she wrote a couple episodes of Next Generation. One of them, of course, being Encounter at Farpoint. But I don't know if you ever played the game Star Trek Bridge Commander.
Oh, no. I remember trying to play it, but it was I didn't understand it how to play those kinds of games back in the day.
Well, she wrote the story for that particular game.
Wow. I remember it being popular.
It was, and you can actually find it on GOG.
Really?
Yeah, GOG.com.
I want to try that virtual reality one where you and your friends can actually be on the bridge.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. Let me go ahead and bring that up. Because I do know what you're talking about. As a matter of fact, since I'm on Amazon, if I just go through my orders.
Yep. Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Mm-hmm.
That game looks really fun.
I actually do have that game. I don't have the VR headset, but they released a patch for it so you can play it without the VR headset.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But let me see if there's still any copies available for it or if you can find it anywhere.
Half price books might have it. I don't know. That's where I usually buy my books.
Well, Amazon does have DC Fontana's book, and let's see. Well, if anybody has a PS4, you can actually still find a copy of Star Trek Bridge Crew for $25 on Amazon. Go ahead and post the link. No, that's not what I wanted. Just gonna grab that. One second, folks. Sorry if it gets quiet in here. All right, let's go ahead and post that there. And yeah, it does have the bridge from the 2009 Star Trek in there as well. But you could also be on the bridge of the original Enterprise and also on the bridge of the Enterprise D.
Enterprise D.
Yes. But as far as Scotty was concerned, no bloody A, B, C, or D.
Yeah, he rode the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. But talking about this episode, and Scotty's rolling it, you know, pretty much telling Spock, there's something not right about this ship.
I think this show really put a spotlight on Scotty's performance.
Mm-hmm.
Because so often we only see him dramatically, like for a couple seconds, explain some techno babble. But in this episode, he was really a part of the story.
Mm-hmm. An integral part of the story because Spock is volunteering to go into the shaft and stabilize the matter antimatter, and Scotty says no, it's my responsibility. Scotty's the chief engineer. He's going to risk his life to save many more lives on board the ship.
Yeah, and he's doing it more than just a voice in a box on the wall.
Mm-hmm. You're actually seeing him going into the crawl space with, the hypospanner and
You can
trying
really
to,
understand why he complains.
yeah, not a lot of room in those crawl spaces. And let's see what DJ is saying as soon as I get my arrow back over to that side of the screen. Ants in his pants too. Yeah, yeah, because of the energy. He felt like there were ants crawling all over him. But this is one of those episodes I do recommend folks check out and, you know, try not to judge it too harshly because it deserves a lot more praise than it actually gets. But is there anything else you'd like to say about this episode before we head out?
For some odd reason, this episode has 3 head doctors. Dr. McCoy, Dr. Mbega, and then
And Dr. Sanchez.
So the Enterprise has at least 3 main doctors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, 3 doctors, but we know that McCoy is the chief medical officer.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of the episodes ever really showed that many doctors aboard the ship.
Usually it's just McCoy.
McCoy and a nurse or 2.
Yeah.
But nope, that's the last factoid I have.
All right. Is there anyone you wish to promote?
Check out Fat Steven on Rumble.
I'm going to get Steven's link. Last I had seen, he was streaming Robocop. I don't know if he still is. Yes, he is still streaming Robocop. So I will get you all the link to Steven's channel, and some of you might already be subscribed to him. Some of you might not. So if you're not, go over, give him a follow over there on Rumble. I'll also get the link for his YouTube channel. So give me a second to grab that.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
All right. And
I just want to say thank you for having me, Mike. This has been fun.
Well, I was going to thank you for coming on because I really appreciate you coming on. When I asked you about it, I know I hadn't given you all the details quite yet. So when you said, send me a DM with all the details, I wanted to make sure I made it crystal clear exactly how we would be doing this tonight, and
Yeah, I dug up a little notepad all week of little facts, and that's all the little facts I've been saying all night.
and that's a good thing because that's what good shows tend to make us do. Write down different tidbits and go, oh yeah, I got to remember that for the stream. And then we have those times where we don't remember something for the stream. It's like, oh, why did I bring that up?
Yeah, I hope I didn't sound too dumb.
No, no, no. But Shane, thank you for taking time out of your Saturday evening to join us all here for episode number 7 of The Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion. It was a lot of fun. I do want to let everybody know that for the next episode of The Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion, I will be joined by Master Paul of Fandomology, formerly known as the Star Wars Guys, and we will be taking a look at the episode The Corbinite Maneuver. So that'll be on August 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern on the YouTube channel, on X, and also on Rumble. So please come and join us. And if you haven't joined us over on the Cosme side to watch the episode, consider joining us on that side. Everybody's more than welcome. And speaking of everybody who was more than welcome to be here today, I, of course, again want to thank everybody. And I want to thank Lady Mist for being here. I also want to thank Tim, also known as FKHC 2005. I also want to thank Gary over on the Rumble side. I also want to thank Arwen Avalon for being here. And speaking of Arwen, I've got to ask her about coming on sometime too and talking about a specific episode that she has in mind. Because I know she's a big fan of Deep Space Nines, and there's plenty of good Deep Space Nine episodes that we can go through. And DJ, thank you for being here, brother. Let's see. Is that everybody for tonight? I think so. I just want to make sure I've gotten everybody. I don't want to leave anybody behind. Of course, also double and triple checking myself. Padawannabe, thank you very much. And Padawannabe, I do have a date in mind for the celebration stream. I'm just double checking on a few things before I make any kind of announcements. I'll probably make an announcement sometime in the middle of this week about the celebration stream for the channel being fully monetized. So just keep your ears to the ground and eyes on any post I make on the YouTube channel or over on X. So let me just double check that I've gotten everybody. And it looks like I've got everybody. It's a single stripe. It's a single stripe for Lieutenant.
Yeah.
But as far as what else is coming up on the YouTube channel, the Rumble channel, and over on X for tomorrow at least at 1 p.m. Eastern will be the Sunday edition of Pacific 4 Pop Talk, where Baron, Cash, and I will be talking about Taika Waititi supposedly getting set to direct the next Judge Dredd movie. And we'll also be talking about Games Workshop going out in full force against small businesses. Why? Well, tune in to find out. And of course, we'll also take a look at the weekend box office to see how James Gunn's Superman has done in its second week of release. And on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I will be back for Robocop Rogue City Unfinished Business at 6 p.m. on YouTube and Rumble. Then, of course, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the Wednesday edition of Pop Talk. I don't know what we're talking about yet. I'll figure that out tomorrow night and also Monday night as I make the thumbnail. And then on Thursday, I will be playing more Rise of the Ronin. But everybody, thank you for being here, whether you watched on YouTube, Rumble, or X. Really appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, live long and prosper.